Bonjour, bienvenue à Fondation Maeght. Cagnes-sur-Mer, we are on the Côte d'Azur in the south of France. This is the Fondation Maeght, a sculpture garden with amazing pieces like this Albert Giacometti walking man, one of the most famous 20th century sculptures, surely, and this is one of the many highlights of artistic tourism here in the south of France. To give you a little geography lesson, this is the Côte d'Azur, so we're talking about Nice, we're talking about Cannes, Saint Tropez in the south, and the border with Italy to the north. About 50 miles or so, and within this dense geographic region, obviously some of the greatest art and artists in the 20th century lived and worked. A visit here should, of course, probably start in Nice with the Musée Matisse. Matisse spent many of his last years in Nice, and his museum there has extraordinary examples of his work. Also in Nice, you have the Chagall Museum. Marc Chagall lived and worked here. As we move through the Fondation Maeght, we get into what is called the Miró labyrinth, the Miró maze or path. These are all sculptures, fountains by Juan Miró, Spanish artist who did spend a lot of time here on the Côte d'Azur. And if you are a fan of Giacometti, who we saw first, and then Miró, who we'll see more here, Fondation Maeght is probably the best place in the world for their work. All of this enormous monumental Miró sculpture in the outdoor gardens here, the Miró labyrinth at Fondation Maeght. So when we think about the Côte d'Azur, the south of France, this area that I'm talking about, Matisse was here for his final years, Chagall, Renoir as well. We are just down the hill. This is Cagnes-sur-Mer. Actually, this is Saint Paul de Vence, where we are right now. Vence, just up the hill, is where the Matisse Chapel is. So all of these little towns, we've got the Mediterranean back there. So the train stop, bus stop is Cagnes-sur-Mer. Then you take the bus up to Saint Paul de Vence, which is where we are now. The last town up is Vence, as I get my geography straight. Matisse, Chagall, Renoir. Down further south in Saint Tropez, that is Paul Signac and Pointillism and the artistic community that he established there, the arts colony in the early 20th century that would include Henri Edmond Cross, Andre Derain went down there, Maurice de Vlaminck went down there, Antibes nearby, Picasso. If you were a 20th century European artist of any renown whatsoever, chances are you spent some time on the Côte d'Azur. Further north into Italy, Ventimiglia, that was more Monet, although he also spent time on the Côte d'Azur. Then further south, as you go towards Spain, that's when you start getting into Arles with Van Gogh, Aix-en-Provence with Cézanne, and then about 220 miles from here, Callure, which Matisse and Derain, when they were working there for a summer, 1905-06 is where they kind of developed the Fauve style. But this is an amazingly dense area for 20th century art history and some of the major names. Again, the highlights would be the Matisse Museum in Nice, the Chagall Museum in Nice. There is a museum in Saint-Tropez for a lot of the paintings that came out of that area, with a particular emphasis on Paul Signac. That is fantastic. And then Fondation Maeght here with the Giacometti and the Miró. They also have a fantastic a couple of examples from Alexander Calder, wonderful paintings on the inside of this magnificent piece of architecture right here. So, you know, this south of France is really an art lover's destination now for the museums, like it was for the artists back in the day. And I'm here in, September 18th, 2024. Sadly, I've got an overcast, rainy day. Typically, this would be bright blue sky, direct, luminous sunlight. The Mediterranean Sea would be glistening in the background, and that's what drew the artists here from sooty, dank, dark, wet, soggy Paris. It was this incredible light, none of which we have the pleasure of seeing today, but when it comes out, and if you make a visit here, I would probably recommend May, early May, April. June, July, August is high tourist season. Even mid-September right now, you can't say it's crowded, but there are crowds. And the public transportation I've been on at times has been incredibly packed. These places are difficult to get to, or they have proven to be. I'm staying in Nice on a 9-day visit where I've gone to Aise and Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat, went up to Ventimiglia into Italy for a day, Villefranche, again Cagnes-sur-Mer, then up here to Saint Paul de Vence. On a previous trip, did Monaco and Grasse, Antibes, those kind of places. So these are all beautiful little towns stretched out along, again, about a 50-mile stretch that is known as the Côte d'Azur, French Riviera. It is part of Provence, but just a small part of Provence, and really amazing for the caliber and number of artists who came through here. Pierre Bonnard is another one. While I am here at Fondation Maeght, there is an incredible temporary exhibit with Matisse and Bonnard in conversation with each other. So, you know, if late 19th, early 20th century French painting is your thing, and modern art of this Miró, Giacometti, Renoir, Matisse, Chagall, fashion, then certainly the Côte d'Azur, south of France, is for you. Be aware, again, these places are difficult to get to out of Nice. Nice is very easy to get to, centrally located. The museum's there, piece of cake. They've also got a nice Beaux-Arts museum there. The Modern and Contemporary Museum in Nice is undergoing a major renovation expansion, and that's going to be closed probably until 2027 or thereabouts. But Saint-Tropez is incredibly difficult to get to. If you are not a freak for Signac and pointillism, and you can't get on the ferries that only run 3 days a week seasonally, you can be looking at 4 hours to get there. And that's what I experienced between bus delays, train delays, traffic. It was a total, utter mess. Getting here today to Saint Paul de Vence from Nice, again, pushing 2 hours because of a 45-minute train delay. Public transportation here on the Côte d'Azur is incredibly cheap. Bus fares like $170. You can get a train, just the local kind of commuter trains, $250. The regional trains that go further to Grasse or up into Italy, those can be $22. per person, but just moving around the area is dirt cheap. However, the buses and trains have run 45 minutes late on average. That means some have been much, much later than that. I am an advocate for public transportation. I love it for how it allows you to see and experience a place, come into contact with the people, for the reduced carbon, but it has been a nightmare on this visit trying to get anywhere because the buses and trains have been so late and off schedule, and then oftentimes packed. Even mid-September, which is starting to get into shoulder season. I don't mean packed like, wow, we've got to stand. I mean like packed like this, all up on people. The rewards of coming to the Côte d'Azur for the arts are many. Again, Matisse, Chagall, Renoir, Signac, Bonnard, on and on and on, Giacometti, Miró. But this trip, and I've been here previously, it was 10 years ago. I came for my honeymoon in 2014. I'm back on my 10th anniversary in 2024. The first visit was mid-late May. This visit is mid-late September. The crowds have been much heavier at this time period. And a lot of that is because this is a beach-going destination. When I was here in May, it was still too chilly for anyone to be on the beach in the water, and that surely kept crowds down. Now as we're transitioning into fall, we're getting more rainy days like this. This is hardly a beach day for anyone. Again, you come to the Côte d'Azur to see the amazing light, the amazing sun and atmosphere, and we're sadly not getting any of that today. So, if you do make it here, and it is an arts pilgrimage, to be certain, like I said, the late 19th, early 20th century French artist, modern artist, fantastic. Matisse Museum for sure, Chagall Museum for sure in Nice. If you can make it down to Saint-Tropez, it's a pain in the ass, honestly. And the museum is small, so if you're not a freak for Signac, don't bother. Fondation Maeght here, easier to get to, bigger, more to see. Put this one on your to-do list for sure. The Matisse Chapel is 2 bus stops from here in Vence. You can see that. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, but be aware that the best time to do it is probably going to be spring. I would target April, May. It will be cooler, the crowds will be down, but the sun will be out, and you'll be able to experience the Côte d'Azur and these wonderful little towns in some manner that the artists who came here 125, 30 years ago now did.